you very, very much for the weekend. Thank you so much.
Once we're on the side, as soon as we It's your boy Concert Viz 34 back at home.
What up? What up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34.
Yep, so your boy Concert Viz 34 coming to you here.
What up? What up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34. Aria. Okay, so this is Aria, and just tell us a little bit about yourself and about your love for the Dave Matthews Band.
I've been a fan of the band since April 28, 1998. And if you recognize the date, that's when Before These Crowded Streets was released.
Alpine is definitely a better venue than Summerfest, but we'll take it. I think I've been going to shows for about 20-something years.
I always tell people, like, compare DMB to now to when I first started. And I got started, in my opinion, I feel like I got started late. Like, I was at the very end of the band's prime. I feel like that 03 to 06 was like the end of the prime. 07, 08 was like, you know, we're at the very end. And then when Roy passed.
But Dave really, this is the thing. Dave has put, Rashawn has been assigned the quarterback of this team. He is the coach, the play caller. He designs the jams. Dave just shows up and plays whatever he's going to play. What up? What up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34. Coming to you guys live from Connecticut. We're going to talk about Jersey tonight. Another shake meh like a monkey. We got a you and meh, right? So we're going to talk about this set tonight. What's up, Christopher? Thank you for checking in. What's up, John? My fellow Connecticut friend. Nice to see you on here. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Again, the like button, those likes help me to get exposure. Exposure helps this show to go to more people. So definitely hit the like button if you can. And let's flip it over to the set list. I am waiting. If anyone went to the show, comment. If you're watching this, you went to the show, want to give your opinions, comment here. But we're going to take a look at this show. And hey, Connor, nice to see you come in again. Thank you for checking in. And this is the set list from New Jersey. It's northern Jersey. So they didn't have to travel this far. This may be one of the shorter treks on the tour because all they have to do is leave Long Island and then take the George Washington Bridge over from there. So even if I put this on maps, Jones Beach. Let's take a look at how close this is. This may be one of the closer treks. PNC Bank Arts. See, an hour 20. Just to put this on the map. This is the trek, and it's only 73 miles. I think, yeah, so this is your trek to get, let me turn up my mic a little bit here. This is the trek to get from, so actually they don't take the GW. I think that's is that the Holland Tunnel? That may be the Holland Tunnel that they take over there. I forgot that you can, but that's an hour 20. The route has tolls. Hopefully the band can afford it, or I guess they didn't make it right. This is North Jersey, so a very quick, not too much driving in here, just to give you an idea how it looks like. So let's take a look. John says rough set tonight. Shake Me needs to go away. Connor says if we're just talking main set, it was one of the stronger midweek shows in my opinion. I think you can say that. I think last night was better, right? I think last night was definitely better than tonight. What this show has, let me just see. I'm waiting for some people to respond back to me, just that we're at the show. But what I like to see here is the first 4 songs. They came out hot, out of the gates. You have One Sweet World, Granny, Pig, 27. That's an awesome out of the gate boom. Then we get to Can't Stop, Samurai Cop. PNP Rapunzel is kind of iffy. I would almost call that even. So let's just do this here. We're going to do a calculator game of +1, -1. This is just from, again, the set list. All right. From the set list. And we're going to do this. So if we go One Sweet World, we're going to do 1 plus Granny plus Pig equals 3 plus 27 equals 4. Now, what I'm going to do is if I don't like a song, I'm going to subtract it. If it's neutral, which I'm going to try to reserve that. Actually, yeah, if it's neutral, I'm just going to put it at a 0. So I'm going to say Can't Stop and Samurai Cop. If we're rating this show -2, I'm going to take those 2. And now we're back to 2. I'm going to say PNP Rapunzel is a 0. I'm going to give Ocean and the Butterfly +1. So now we're at 3, right? 7, I'm going to subtract 1. I personally do not like I don't think we need this song. Sledgehammer, I'm going to give a 0 to Sledgehammer just because I'm indifferent. And then Bayou, we're going to subtract 1. Right? So we're down to 1. Lying in the Hands of God, I'm going to do +1 for that one. What would you say? I'm going to do +1 for that. It's close to a 0 for me. You Might Die Trying is +1. That's close to a 0, but I'm still going to give it a +1. And then You and Me is going to be -1. And then Rooftop, I'm going to give a +1 to Rooftop just because I like the arrangement. Warehouse is going to be +1. And then Cornbread's going to be -1. Ants Marching is going to be +1. Sister, I'm going to give a 0. And then Shake Me, I'm going to give -1. So, I mean, this is a 4. If we're rating this, like if we're adding, subtracting, the neutrals that I gave is to Sister, PNP, Rapunzel, and I think it was in Sledgehammer, right? This is just me looking at the set alone, right? Not talking about energy or anything there. Hoping to get some responses back from people who were there. If you were there, please comment here. If you went to the show. Now, I love how this show starts. The middle, you could take or leave. And again, if you haven't been to a show, Ocean and the Butterfly was a song I wasn't a fan of when it was being played by Dave solo. I thought it was cool, but I thought I'd never, it was really a neutral song. I was indifferent. But I loved the way it was played at the Gorge. And I didn't even have Carter there or Stefan, but it just was amazing. But I think the beginning of this set is awesome. The middle, I think Lying in the Hands of God stands out. You Might Die Trying in the middle of that set takes out. Connor says, I would take Samurai Cop over That Girl Is You any night. Yes, I agree. Although I think both should go away. We had 2 Come Tomorrow songs here in this show. But the middle of the set, but the line to me, what I think what stands out to me is the beginning of this set is awesome. The middle, Ocean and the Butterfly and Lying in the Hands of God are 2 awesome things that I'll take in the middle of that set. No Jimmy thing. And then the end of this, I mean, you have You and Me, but outside of You and Me and Cornbread, although Cornbread is a fan favorite for some people, although I personally, I'm not a fan of the song. But to me, the end of this set is awesome. You get an Ants closer. And what I still believe is that the Ants closers, right? The Ants marching closers, here we get the song that, the casual fans like, even the hardcore fans like me also enjoy. You get it right in the main set. That means if you've been traveling with this band, Aria, I believe was at this shout out to Aria. She get, I think she, I don't know if she had to wait for public transit or whatever, but you can leave this show early if you've been to 5, 6, 7 shows, right? Even if you've been to 3 or 4 shows, you see that flying V and you see that drop D tan guitar from Dave, you either know it's Shake Me or Don't Drink the Water. In this case, it was Shake Me. One thing to point out, and I'm going to put this on as one of the alerts. One awesome thing about this, there's no repeats from last night. They treated this like a 2-night stand. New Jersey. No repeats. I'm going to put this in. This is your... All right, this is your Holmdel, New Jersey. No repeated songs from Jones Beach. That is awesome. Here you had, if you were in this Jersey, Long Island, tri-state area, shout out to everyone, Connecticut, New Jersey, New York, my New Yorkers, right? Queens, Brooklyn, woody woo, right? You did not get a repeat at all. That's awesome. A midweek set. Hey, what's up, Michael? I would have loved a Dream So Real or Drunken Soldier for sure. Dream So Real, I'm chasing. Drunken Soldier, I got in 19. I would love to have it in 21, but Dream So Real to open up a show would make my Mohegan Sun. If the band's listening to that, you don't have to do it. I'm not telling you what to play. I'm just saying what would make my day or night. But hey, Dave, you're listening. You're doing some great things this year. Doing some beautiful things. Watch out for COVID from those selfies, but you're doing some great things. But that's another thing that I'm just looking at. There's no repeats. That's awesome. And look at this. You got 5. Ants hasn't been played in 5 days, right? You Might Die Trying, 7 days. 7 hasn't been played in 20. There's only 4 7s in the tour. I think that's this song should get that treatment. And I know some people love it, and I initially loved this song. I don't need 7. I don't need Shake Me like some of these rock songs from Big Whiskey. I personally don't need, but I know why people love them, right? They bring the crowd to life. But look at all these. A 5 spot. Samurai Cop has been played in 5 nights. One Sweet World, right? You can't tell me these shows are predictable because look at how many have 5 and 6. Even You and Me has only been played 6 times this tour. Let's look at the history of You and Me and let's see where we're at with this play count so far. Keep in mind this show started late. So yeah, I mean, look at You and Me. Oh, oops, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry, folks. My bad. Let's see. Can we get back? Yeah, let's get this bigger. Sorry, folks. Technical difficulties here. Okay. So look at this. Right? You and Me, it's not even close to 2019, right? Even if they play it for the rest of the tour, they're not going to come close to 2019. That's awesome. 2018 had a little bit less play, right? 17 and 16 had some less plays, 15, right? 2013, no wonder 2013 was so awesome. For this time block, it had a lot less You and Me's, right? But I know it's a wedding song. I know it's special for people. And I get why people like the song and why it's a wedding song. I would not have this song at my wedding, right? I'll back you up here on out. Steady as we go in that order. So, and let's see. Connor, and this is something I appreciate the diversity of this tour. Crash Into Me used to be played 20 plus times a year. This year it's been played less than 5 times. Right. They are giving everyone something. As much as I'm going through this set list, and you know, I gave you my opinions, right? Y'all just heard them. But as much as I can say, oh, I don't like that, I like that, I don't like that, they are doing a great job of balancing this out. Do you have a Sugar Will? No. Do you have a Sweet Up and Down? No. Do you have a Stone? No. But you know what? You got Pig 27, right? Lying in the Hands of God, right? You can't get everything. And this is a midweek show. Farm Aid is on Saturday. And now Michael says if Buddy can make the violin happen on Pig, he can do it on Drunken Soldier. So the violin on Drunken Soldier, it can be done. And here's the thing. Hunger for Great Light would be a good wedding song. I'm good. Pass. I know you're joking, but nah. I'll back you up. And it may be too graphic for some of the kids. But anyway, he could, and this is the thing, in the church, right? In the black church. I'll say that because Buddy comes from the black church. My grandfather was a pastor, right? I've been born and raised in the black church. There is a lot of violin key combos. There's a couple presets on the piano, specifically designed for black churches because, you know, this is what we do. Right. No, just kidding. But anyway, you can have one hand, your left hand has violin, your right hand has keys. Right. There's a combination where it sounds like a key and a violin. So Buddy can do, I know he's done this. I know Buddy had growing up in the church like I did. He, as a keys player, he had to know how to mix that stuff. Right. So I think that this, you know, he could do it. Right. I think it's a matter of how they execute it if they decide to do that. But even without him on the violin, it's an awesome song. I heard it 2019, and again, it was still an awesome presentation. So yeah, it could happen. Rooftop is an all-time favorite for Michael. I love what they did when they remixed this song. When they had the new breakdown in this banana, yeah, like I want you to, and then this tell me that you want to, like that's awesome. That is honestly, I felt a way about Away from the World. It was the album that was being promoted during my first tour, And the reason I felt a way about it is because songs didn't translate well to the live show. Snow Outside, awesome, right? Drunken Soldier, the riff, Broken Things, amazing. But Belly Belly Nights was cool. It was fun, but it got old quick. Gaucho, old quick. Mercy, too long of a jam. Didn't translate live, although the Dave solo version at the Gorge was awesome. The Dave solo version at some telethons and some other events, awesome. But I don't think a lot of it translated well. But what they did is they did find their groove on this record. Dave may have said something about it, right? I think he said something about he didn't like this, like, or something. I don't know. Don't quote me on it, but they didn't really play it for a minute, right? There weren't a lot of songs, 15, 16, 17, 2018. Some of it kind of came back. 2019, Drunken Soldier comes at the Gorge, but that's it really, right? This year, they're bringing back Sweet. They've done a great job with Sweet. Rooftop has been in the mix there, and Connor has it. He nails it on the head. The new jam for Sweet translated well for the band. They realized, hey, let's use dynamics. And I say that in jest because a lot of the music, it post Leroy Moore, they just made it as a wall of sound. But here we are in a moment where they absolutely nailed it with this new quieter. Even Tim's guitar is toned down and perfect for Sweet. And you have the keys and you have them swapping back solos, Buddy and Tim. And you have the corns quiet, the horn and sax quiet, right? They have a nice slow jam. And there were signs of that. And I remember listening to Sweet in 2015 during DMB 2 sets. They did play it during the acoustic 2 sets, and it was pretty good. What they've done since then is a whole new level and awesome, right? I will say it's awesome. So here we go. We have, just again, some of these things, and that's what makes these shows awesome. Again, I will say this about the encore. I believe in turning a negative into a positive, right? Sister is, it's his moment. Actually, it's more like he's been doing a little more than singing through the windows recently. And it's just more about his stance on women. And this is his political stance on he believes women should have a more choice in their, have more control over their bodies. So it's becoming, because of the current times, it's a song that means a lot today, right? Initially, he was talking about the pandemic. Windows, singing through the windows was played to the wall, to the fret. No, I can't say that. This is a family show. But he was playing that to the windows, to the wall. But even that was in moderation, right? But it was something he was pushing, especially at the beginning of the tour. He wanted to do that. But Sister is his moment. But Shake Me Like a Monkey, it is a song people like. It gets people pumped up. But it also leaves room for fans like some of you guys on here, like me, that can just say, look, I'm going to the parking lot, right? Not that this song is complete and utter trash. It just doesn't, it's not a good closer. It's so quick and fast, and there's no sort of solo, there's no sort of improv really that you're going to get, except maybe some higher squealing Rashawn trumpet, right? And other than that, it's really not worth it. So it's an opportunity for you to get to your car. It's an opportunity for you to beat the traffic. When you see people leaving, if you ever watch a sporting event and you're like, oh, why are people leaving? Now, for the playoffs, I think it's crazy, right? But for a middle of the week game, a lot of those people you see leaving early are season ticket holders. They know they're going to be back in a couple of weeks, right? Well, with COVID, we hope, right? Now I think more people are going to stay at games and enjoy these games because we got them taken away. But if you're a season ticket holder, I'm a season ticket holder for, UConn hockey, right? And if the game is really out of hand, now I'm a fan. I actually pretty diehard. I will stay to the end most times, but I'll get to the concourse where you can see the game just to be ready. Sometimes, and I've left a couple times earlier, had stuff to do the next morning, and either the team was up by a lot or we were getting blown out. But when you're a season ticket holder, you just like, you're like, all right, whatever. Like, I know I'm going to see them again. It's not that you love this team. Actually, you bleed in this team is just so special to you. You're checking updates, you're checking recruiting. And that is how I feel as a DMB fan. It's not that I'm taking this moment for granted. It's the fact that I've seen this. I want to beat the traffic. I have other obligations at home, and DMB is taking up 3, 4, 5, 6 shows And this year it'll be 10 for me, counting Farm Aid. So if I'm going to 10 shows, why do I need to stay for Shake Me Like a Monkey, right? Now you can stay if you want to stay. I'm not judging you. I'm just saying when you go to so many shows and when you love this band, right? Eventually what happens when you have kids, and I don't have children, but I've learned this and I've seen this working with, being a mentor. When you have kids, right? Initially, like the first kid, right? The first day of kindergarten, it's so special. Now the last kid may hit you if you have 3 kids, but as you have kids, you learn to be like, okay, there's definitely moments I want to be there nonstop. But then there's moments as they become preteens and teenagers, look, I'll pick you up after, right? You don't have to go to this practice, right? But when they're at their first Pee Wee football practice or their first ice hockey practice, you stay the whole time. By the time they get to middle school, you're like, look, I'll be here at 10:45 because that's how late this practice runs at night for hockey. Just text me when you're getting dressed. When you're in the locker room, I'll drive the 5 minutes down the road. That's how I feel about Shake Me Like a Monkey. I love this band. It is a band I'm seeing 10 times, or in certain form. I'm seeing Dave Matthews 10 times this year, Lord willing, that I'm able to get to the rest of my shows. I've seen 6 so far. I'm Shake Me Like a Monkey. I'm leaving. That's not a bad thing. If you want to stay, that's cool for you. If this is your only show, I understand this. Fine. What we got from Aria. She says, show was great, much better than Jones Beach. The crowd was energetic, and so was the band. So shout out to Aria. Let me just see if she wants to. Let me see if she wants to come on. No worries. Can't. And let me see if I got any more responses. Let's see. I tried to see. Let me see. There's a Jersey fan that I follow, and I just sent a message out. Let's see. I think they may be traveling, but let's see if she wants to get on, get some initial. If not, no worries. I know again she's had a lot of shows. Okay, so Enoch, you just got back. It was great. So Enoch, let us know what are some of the things you thought about the set list, the sound. Let us know. Just put it in the comment section. Okay, and we're gonna bring Aria on here. Let's see. Give me one moment, folks.
Okay. Hi.
Hey, Aria, it's Marcus, aka Conservist 34. How you doing?
Good. How are you doing? Can you hear me okay?
Oh yeah, we can hear you perfect. I feel like you need to. This is you're in a marathon of DMB shows. You need to get your Gatorade. You need to get a quick towel, and then you'll be at the home stretch soon.
Yeah. Well, I have a long break now because my next show is MSG.
Awesome. Now, how did you feel? I know you shared some thoughts through Messenger, but what did you think of the show overall?
I thought lots of energy, great set list. I mean, it was just amped up. The crowd was feeling it. I feel like the band was feeling the crowd. It was great. It was great.
Awesome. So you said in your message that this tonight was better than Jones Beach. Can you just elaborate on, I know you just talked about the crowd, but just elaborate on what made this a better show for you?
I felt like the crowd energy was different at Jones Beach. I thought tonight the crowd was way into the songs. I felt like the songs last night at Jones Beach they're great songs, but it wasn't anything like breathtaking or awe-inspiring. I felt like the openers tonight were just much more like much better than Jones Beach. Jones Beach started off with Seek Up. I love that song, but I don't know if it set the energy right. I don't know, but tonight's openers were on fire.
That's awesome. And we have a comment here from Enoch. He's commenting, watching the stream. He was at the show. He says the last song, Ants Marching, they were jamming so hard it felt like 20 minutes. What did you think of the Ants Marching?
Oh, that was great. Always love me some ants. And again, the crowd was it. You know, a lot of times I think the crowd energy really can make or sometimes break a show. And I thought tonight the crowd energy was great. I thought Ants was great. My only disappointment of the night was that they did not have the woos in Warehouse because I am Team Woo. But yeah, loved Ants.
Okay, and we've seen, so that's interesting you say that. I believe it was Guilford, New Hampshire. I went to that show and they did not do the woos either. Have you experienced that at all with all the shows you've been to where they didn't do the woos outside of tonight?
I don't think so. I can't think of the show because I've done 10 shows in 3 weeks. But there has been one of those 10 shows that they did Warehouse and the woos were back.
Okay. Yeah, because I've heard both this year with the shows. I've been to 6, so it's interesting how that's happening. As we get Gray Street every night with the third verse, but where I guess if Dave's feeling it, some nights he's doing it, some nights he's not. But that's too bad they didn't do the woos. Sister Shake Me Closer, was there? I don't know if you noticed it. Were people leaving when once Shake Me Like a Monkey came on? Did people kind of seem upset about it, or
people were still around during Shake Me Like a Monkey? I didn't feel like people were leaving the show during that song. I mean, I'm sure there were some people, but I felt like the majority of the crowd was still there. I know at Jones Beach, people were leaving the show when they hadn't even finished the main set. But tonight, I felt like most of the crowd stuck around until Shake Me Like a Monkey was over.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, and that's what we did notice last night on some of the social media photos that the selfie Dave took, the bleachers were empty.
Yeah.
So
people were pouring out. I want to say I was looking at the set list on the band's website as the show was going on last night. And I want to say around song number 19 or so, people were leaving in droves.
Wow.
Which surprised me. But like I said, tonight, a lot of people stayed until the very end. But yeah, the empty bleachers and the selfie last night were in large part because a lot of people were leaving, had left the show last night early. Okay.
And I don't know I know last night you had told me that a lot of people, it was like their first show, they're, Long Island, that mentality, people stay on the island. They don't really leave. But tonight, were you able to gauge if a lot of people had been to shows, if people were at their first show?
I didn't have a good gauge of that tonight. I felt like I don't know. I honestly, I can't answer that question because it didn't really come up. I think there were a lot of people who did. Sorry, the GPS in the car. Anyway, I think tonight there were probably a good mixture. I don't know. I mean, the crowd definitely, I just didn't talk to anybody and ask them that tonight, or I didn't overhear that conversation around me.
Okay. And last question, what was your favorite song of the night?
Oh, wow. Favorite song.
And I can read the set list here. We have One Sweet World, One Sweet World, Granny, Pig 27. So that was the first 4. One Sweet World, Granny, Pig 27. Can't Stop, Samurai Cop, PNP to Rapunzel, Ocean and the Butterfly, Seven, Sledgehammer, Bayou, Lying in the Hands of God, What Would You Say, You Might Die Trying, You and Me, Rooftop, Warehouse, Cornbread, Ants Marching, and then the encore, Sister, Shake Me Like a Monkey.
I always like Pig. I'm going to have to say Pig was my favorite tonight.
All right, awesome. And yeah, that's one. Pig and the Stone, to me, they can be played every show, and I would still just be in love. So I want to thank you again. You've been so generous with your time in most of the shows you've been to, East Coast, West Coast here. We wish you safe travels back to the city.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You take care. Goodbye.
Good night. Bye.
All right. So we want to thank Aria for coming on and again sharing her thoughts. And yeah, I spoke to her, just to say, hey, can you give me a couple of things for the show? And she did reference that last night there was and this is Long Island, right? Long Island, you're kind of stuck, right? You anywhere you want to go or travel, you have to go through New York City. And just mentally getting through New York, the bridges, the toll, all this stuff. So people just stay on the island, or they fly out to Florida, or they fly out to Cali, or they fly out for business somewhere else, right? Long Island, people don't really have that idea of, I'm going to go up to, now there's probably some fans, right? But just like for me in Connecticut, right? I can just go to Boston, Mansfield, 90 minutes one way. I can go to Hartford, 25 minutes from my house. I can go up to SPAC. It's a nice, smooth 2-hour drive through nature, right? I can take highways, right? But for Long Island, it's just every time you have to leave. Now, some fans, again, will fly into stuff, but it's almost easier to fly, go to LaGuardia and fly to the Gorge or fly to Deer Creek than it is to have to drive to Boston or Boston area or drive to Connecticut. It's just kind of, and some people have cars, some don't on Long Island. I think actually, no, Long Island, you do need a car, but it's just tough. And some of the neighborhoods, it's, to get out, to drive, it's stressful. Now let's get to George. Here's what I'll say, George. How can anyone defend that? Here's what I'll say. And I don't know if you were watching earlier. And again, I'm a guy who's critical of these sets. You can defend this because the main sets have been so amazing. And look at tonight. There's not one single repeat. When we go back to any year prior to this, even the best eras of the band, they were repeating songs in 3-night stands in Hartford. They are not repeating stuff. It's a midweek show, and the main sets are on fire. I would rather, as somebody now that at age 30 versus me at age 21 at my first show in 2012, 9 years later, I would much rather them put their best stuff in the main set and let me beat the traffic. Now, I understand SPAC Night 2, right? And you're saying the last 7 encores in order. Don't Drink the Water, Why I Am, Shake Me, Don't Drink the Water, Shake Me, Don't Drink, Shake Me. Absolutely. Very consistent. But again, if I'm going like Aria's been to 10, I've been to 6. I want to get out of there. Ants Marching. We've got an Ants Marching closer, right? When you look at SPAC Night 2, look at SPAC Night 2's main set. Probably the live tracks worthy show of this year is SPAC Night 2. When you look at Deer Creek, when you look at Chicago, Fish Tenders, we've had You Never Knows. Like, I would rather have, and most bands do this, even jam bands, right? I go to see String Cheese. I go to see Humphreys McGee. I go to see, Dead and Company. I've seen Phil and Friends, right? They don't necessarily, their encores are sometimes it's you go beat the traffic, but their main sets are amazing. Their set 2s for the jam bands are amazing. DMB is not a jam band, but their idea is they kind of do a little bit of song mixing up. But when you have no repeats in 2 individual shows, that's awesome. When we look back, let's go back to some of these sets just to show you. So when we go to a Holmdel, New Jersey, right? Yes. Shake Me Like, no. Oh, no, we're at Holmdel. Let's go back to, let's go to 921. right? When you look at this, 41 to Say Goodbye, which is, I think it's been the second or third time they've done that, to Nancy's, right? That right there. Play that, and then I'll leave after Some Devil, right? I'll beat the traffic. Look at that run. 41 Say Goodbye, Nancy's, Jane, So Damn Lucky, Gray Street. We weren't getting runs like that in 2019. We were not getting runs like that in 2018. We were not, period. We had a That Girl Is You, or we had something else. Look at this. Seek Up. You Never Know. The most You Never Know is played since most You Never Know is played since 2012. That's phenomenal. I will take that. You Never Know been playing 8 times this tour, and we can have what I consider, I agree, they're mediocre encores, repetitive encores. And the other thing is, keep in mind this, what we've learned, Matt Norlander, who's going to have an article coming out in the next, I believe in the next couple of weeks, if everything goes well. Matt Norlander said he spoke with Carter at where was this? Oh, at Guilford, New Hampshire. And he said that Carter has issues. He's getting older and he has issues with, playing the 2-steps. And I'm sure Halloween's part of that, right? So he plays 2-step in Mansfield, where I went, as the set closer instead of the encore. Again, look at this. Shake Me Like a Monkey, right? Singing from the windows. But You Never Know. 41. Sweet Up and Down. 41. When the World Ends, You Never Know. What a run. A Seek Up, right? They are, look, and there's, this show did have some repeats, right? We have 1, 2, 3, there are more repeats, but this is a midweek show in Milwaukee, right? We go back a little bit, right? Let's just go to the tour. Hold on. Shows, right? Let's just go back to some of this stuff, right? So we go to even SPAC Night 1. Let's look at that, right? Pig, right? We have a Pig. We have a 41 Say Goodbye again, right? You Never Know. I will take these sets. I know I'm being a dead horse, but I just want to show this stuff. A Rye Whiskey full band for the first time since 09, right? That's awesome, right? What You Are, Love Will Lay Down. Now that is By You Stay, you can say what you want about that, but that's awesome. Walk Around the Moon is a good song, right? So how can we defend this? There's a couple of things we can defend this with. First of all, the new songs are awesome with this band. The new songs are killing it, right? Walk Around the Moon, Singing from the Windows. Oh, no. Well, Singing from the Windows is its own thing, but they're not playing it that much, which is fine. But Walk Around the Moon, The Only Thing, and Ocean and the Butterfly. Amazing songs. Much better than Come Tomorrow. That's the first thing. So the new songs rock. The set list variety is there. Everything. You want a deep cut. You want a You and May. You want something in the middle. You want a Gray Street third verse. We are getting so much bang for our buck this year. So that's the second thing, right? The diversity in the set list. The third thing is we are getting rarities played more this year than we've gotten them in a while. You Never Know. Drive In, Drive Out's made a couple appearances. 41 to Say Goodbye combo. I think it's been 2 or 3 times it's been played like that, right? We're getting so many things like that. We're getting less covers. Yes, Sledgehammer's made its way back, but look at Watchtower. It hasn't really been around. Knock on wood, right? Knock on wood. It hasn't been around. And even the one I saw at the Gorge, it was acoustic, right? I'll take that. So you can defend it by those things right there. And then look at tonight. Look at tonight. No repeats. 2 shows in 2 separate states. Yes, 90 minutes away. That's just like the Texas 2-step. That's just like the Hartford Mansfield combo, because they've been resorted to one show. But even let's just look at look at this, Virginia Beach, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 songs repeated. Much more. I remember going to shows. There were much more songs repeated with these one-offs, right? Compared to that. We look at Merriweather. So I went to Xfinity Center next day at Merriweather. Look at this. You guys see any repeats? None. These shows are like 7 hours away. I've been to suburban Maryland. I've been to Boston area, Mansfield, right? I used to spend my summers down in suburban Maryland, right? Two different areas. I used to spend part of my summers I was spending with my dad's parents and my parents. The good thing about my parents, they're married, they're not divorced, but like they sent me places to explore and see some awesome cities. I used to spend some of my summers in Maryland, in suburban Maryland with my aunt, and I would spend some of my summers with my grandfather and grandmother, my dad's parents, who again, I always had to shout them out. 65 years of marriage this year, still alive, still doing well. I know how far those areas are because I used to go to both of those in the summer, right? For a couple of weeks I was in Maryland, and then for a week I would go up to suburban suburban Boston, right? This is a 7-hour gap, no repeats. Look at that tour debut, boom, tour debut, boom, a drive-in, drive-out with an awesome drum solo into Say Goodbye. This tour is amazing, folks. So that's how, again, I know I'm beating a dead horse, but I got to defend the band. If they weren't doing good stuff, I would be honest. I've done that. I've had people say, "Oh, how can you criticize the band? I like Dave playing the phone book," and that's their opinion, and right, that's fine. And I'd be like, "Bruh, no, we don't want Bayou. We don't want stand up. Get this stuff in the grade. We're in North Jersey tonight. Let's get Tony Soprano to make these guys go missing in the Meadowlands. Bada boom, bada bing, right?" So I am, like I said, I'm passionate about this band, but what we gotta have, it's not just about the encore. Look at the big picture, right? And look, everyone has the right to their opinions, but that's what I'll say if that answers your question. And look at this. Connor has been to 8: Chicago, Deer Creek, Gorge, Summerfest. That's a nice little diverse run there of a couple different stuff. A 2-night stand, two night stands, a 3-night stand, and then Summerfest of one-off midweek. Every set list was magical. Yeah, I agree. And again, I'm critical, right? I don't like when they're doing stuff that is more stale. I feel like mailing it in. I will be honest, but this band, even another thing too, the sound is amazing, guys. The sound is, if you haven't been to a show, the mixes this year are phenomenal. Now they've had some issues and hiccups going to both nights at Guilford. Every year I heard this happens, but Guilford night 1 they had to adjust the sound. I was at the soundboard too. That may have helped me. But night 1 they had to adjust, some stuff here and there. But by night 2 it was balling. It was balling. But they are doing a great job. Even going, let's just take a look again at the Deer Creek, just to look at some of these shows, right? Yes, you get actually, this is a good one. Granny, although I don't like Watchtower, but some people people like that. But even so, you have, now this was a Sirius XM, right? But you got a suite, you got a Nancy's to Warehouse, you got a Tripping Billy's opener, a 41 to Boa, right? You have a Shaking Like a Monkey that's actually in the middle of the set. You get a Write a Song tour debut, Singing from the Windows mid set. That's night 1. Let's look at Chicago night 2. I'm just looking at random shows, right? And look at this, right? You get a Granny, Seek Up, Sweet Up and Down, boom, to a Jane, to a Nancy's, to a Funny the Way It Is to Warehouse. Those first 7, awesome way to start a show, right? And now this is one of the weaker night 2s, but you still have a suite in there. You have a Walk Around the Moon, right? You have Ants Marching tour debut. And again, going to the shows, and again, if I can get everything good and then leave, right? That's awesome, right? That's what it's about. It's nice to be able to leave early, in my opinion. The older I get, even this mid-set show, we get a JTR. This is a midweek show. Look at this. This is, and shout out to Justin Hayes, the Bills, the fellow, our resident Bills Mafia DMB fan out there in Buffalo. But look at this show, JTR, 2 of 2. We get a Captain tour debut. Yes, all they played was a Watchtower one-off. But look at this, Captain, right? A Gray Street closer. He didn't even think for a woo for a second. Oh, tonight, right? He didn't woo, but I mean, they've been doing it. It's been Katy Perry hot and cold. I've seen shows with it or not. Right, Connor's right. A JTR and Captain is a mate. Like that's the thing. And shout out to Michael. Nice to see you. I think that's Michael Wheel. Is that right? I maybe that last name I believe just from Facebook. You're right. I think that's your name. But look at this set. Look at the main set. Right. Forget your like. This is the thing. DMB. If your main chick is doing everything right, why do you need a side chick? And listen, I don't believe in that. Never. Listen, black men don't cheat, right? And I'm serious. I don't mess with cheat. I don't mess. But here's the thing: if the main chick is doing her job, why do you need a side chick? And that's exactly what these encores are. They are the side chick that we don't need. And if you want to stay, you can stay, right? If you want to, that's a funny comparison. But look, you don't need your side chick over here in the red. Look at this main set in the middle of the week. Look at middle of the week, main chick, right? Asking you how your day was, right? Giving you a little back massage, right? Cooking some food for you, right? Oh, honey, no, I'm gonna do my homemade recipe. Okay, all right, it's lit. Why do I need a side chick? The main sets are keeping they man. Okay, the main sets are keeping they man. When you have a JTR, there's so much bridge, so much bridge too much. When you have a crush only thing, you might die trying. Those are nice runs, Nancy's with the stop time intro into warehouse, right? Captain, you can go to the bathroom during Jimmy thing. Cool. Go to stay there during get back to your seat towards Bayou, and then you catch Gray Street. Obviously, no one knew that at the time, but look at this midweek show. I even look at this, and I remember saying, and this is my thing. I said this in a group chat. I said, I'm glad I didn't go to Syracuse. I look back at this set. I'm like, bruh, I should have went to this. JTR and Captain alone were worth the drive. I kind of regret not going. And I was concerned. I was going to go to Syracuse because I thought that there was a potential COVID scare that was going to come before I got to Mansfield. Everything was shutting down. All these artists were testing positive for COVID. But now I kind of wish I went. I initially said that on the set. Now I retract that. Everyone in the group chat, shout out to you guys. You guys know who you are. I retract that statement. I want to issue a formal apology to Syracuse. And I knew JTR was there, but I was like, was it worth the last minute stuff? I kind of wish I would have went, right? They are on fire. And Squirm, so you're saying Squirm, American Baby outro. What are you saying, Can? I love that on Don't Drink the Water. I love seeing that on Don't Drink the Water. I mean, not Don't Drink, Lying in the Hands of God. Sorry. Lying in the Hands of God. I love that. Yes. Do we want an American Baby intro as an encore one? I would love it. But look, the bands, they're not going to do that. Right. And I think it's because of the lack of the fiddle potentially is why they won't do that there. Speaking of the fiddle, since we got some time and before we get to the Farm Aid, transition to Farm Aid in a moment, I still think the momentum of this band, they don't need they don't like right now. It's not in the best interest for them to have a fiddle player. Let me just put this in. I should have had this stuff, folks. I'm learning this stuff as we go. I appreciate you guys' support. All right, here we go. Fiddle or no fiddle? I think for now, no fiddle. This is their next topic. All right. I know this will probably be rehashed for a couple of times. Here's my line of thinking. And thank you, Michael. Be good as well, brother. So I have said this in the band right now doesn't want a fiddle player. Point blank, plain and simple. But I brought this up, I think it was last week. I just want to rehash this again. Just like so based on Rashawn's Instagram, next album has 4. Yeah. And yeah, I remember seeing that a couple of months ago. Right. So on the on the albums, fine, right? Have that stuff. Here's the thing. Just like a sports team, like look at the Baltimore Ravens beating the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. What a game, right? Some people could have said, hey, you know, there's injuries in defensive positions, and I think in their secondary and corners, they had injuries at running back. Oh, the Ravens need to bring in this former pro running. They need to bring in Marshawn Lynch, right? Or even just think of a running back who's kind of on a practice squad or is coming off an injury who may have a second shot, right? But that running back may not fit the system. They may mess the team chemistry up. Right now, this band is just like really just like the Ravens win. I don't know what's going to happen the rest of the year. I think that there will be some struggles because of the injuries. But the Ravens are overperforming even in the loss they had versus the Raiders, right? They did have mistakes, but they have so many in DMB right now. Carter is really starting, the pain and everything is starting to become stronger on Carter, right? You've had Dave is getting older. The whole band's getting older, and they're coming off of a COVID year where they have to get their bearing straight. They are overperforming what my expectations were, right? And the band's, Connor says the band's chemistry has been the best it's been since LeRoy passed. People that I know that have been to hundreds of shows, people who have great ears, and maybe they've only been to 30 shows or 10 shows, but they've been to every era. This is the best chemistry the band has had since LeRoy has passed. And rest in peace to LeRoy Moore. The day he passed, the band, it will never be the same, right? Period. That's it. Even stronger than Boyd not being here. LeRoy, like, he's the only guy who could challenge Dave. Anyway, I say that to say the chemistry is so strong that while you need a fiddle player, just like certain markets, like in hockey, they need a guy who, like Philly, or I'm a Flyers fan. Philly needs a working man, a blue collar guy on their third and fourth line, right? Pittsburgh, they love their blue collar players, right? Boston, they love a guy who just loves the city of Boston, who may party a little bit, right? And certain teams, we need this guy who's cool and loves the city and represents the city, and just is like a Boston college kid, right? They need that type of guy. But at this time, the chemistry is so strong, it's not about having that violin, right? I know people miss it. I understand there's definitely gaps without the violin, but the band is so on fire. I'm not even thinking about Boyd Tinsley, even Darren Pig. Even when I hear the synthesizer, even some songs don't have synthesizers. This band is so on fire. I'm not thinking about Boyd. I did in 18 and 19, right? It was a transition period. I had to get used to this new band sound. Right now, it took Buddy 3 years, really 3 full tour. Like, all right, 2020 was a kind of an abridged, and they sounded great in 2020 too. But he had 18 and 19, and then 2020 a little bit. And finally in 2021, they mastered the mix. The sound guys got the mix on point, right? You know how long it's going to take to get a fiddle mixed into all of this, right? It's not easy when you have a bunch of different tracks all on one stage. I mean, even look at the Grateful Dead, right? The Grateful Dead, you had you had an organist or keys player, you had your bassist in Phil Lesh, you had Jerry Garcia, you had Bob Weir, and you had a couple percussion stuff. And the percussion stuff that you can just mic that up and whatever, right? But you had a rhythm guitarist, lead guitarist, piano, bass. And you had some singers here and there. But DMB has a lead guitarist in Tim. They have the acoustic guitar in Dave. Now they have a trumpet player. Now they have, the sax of Jeff Coffin. They have a bass player and they have keys. So not much more. But then if you throw in a fiddle to that mix, it's going to be a learning curve of at least 2 years for the sound guys, for the fiddle player. And then what is the fiddle player going to play, right? You can't have, this is the reality, right? The only way that a fiddle player, the only potential chance that it would work is kind of like when you have a third down running back, or even just a running back you plug into special situations. Sometimes you even have a running back run, be the quarterback and rush in and just, wildcat it, right? They would have to have a fiddle player that's a world-class fiddle player and tell them, hey, we can't have you play on more than 3 songs a night. We'll practice these songs in sound check. We'll practice these behind stage. We're going to play 3 songs a night. And most of these songs are going to be the violin heavy songs. They would have to do that for year 1. Year 2, maybe have you on 4 or 5 songs. And we're going to teach you some of the songs where the violin's not prevalent, how to be laid back a little bit, how to come in on certain parts. Year 3, okay, let's try you on most of the show, but you're still going to have 1 or 2 songs you sit out. And by year 4, maybe you have them on on stage all the time, unless they want to get a break when there's something that doesn't need a fiddle, more like a What You Are, even though you could have a fiddle on that, but like something that's really rock bass or Dave solo. They can go get a drink, because I know Rashawn likes to do that. Jeff does that for certain songs. You would need 4 years. I'm telling you, because the piano took 3 years to really slay it. You're going to need at least 4 years for things to fit in. And then what do you do? Because at that point, they're going to have to see where Carter's at. They're going to have to see where Dave's at. The band is going to be, Carter's going to be in upper 60s, going towards 70s. Dave's going to be in his 60s. And yes, you still have Genesis performing, right? And Phil, I feel bad for Phil. I really don't think they should be touring. But you have Phil Collins on stage. I've seen B.B. King sit down like Phil Collins is doing. I've seen BB sit down. That was a little different because his guitar is everything, right? His voice, whatever. I just was listening to Lucille. Rest in peace, BB King. Shout out to Buddy Guy, who was there too, another guitar legend I was able to see in 2010. But you're going to need time. No Pink Floyd, right? You're going to need time to really get someone going. And then again, you can't have them just hop in. The keys is so much more of like Buddy didn't have to play on everything and they would have been fine. And he still had to, it took him all this time. So imagine how long it's going to take for a fiddle player where you're more of the sound of the band is based on your shoulders, and you're going to have fans that are waiting for you to bring that Boyd energy. You can't just sit down or just chill and go, I'm just going to play the fiddle like this. You got to bring that energy in your tone, and you got to have chemistry with the band. Right. And Rashawn and Jeff take breaks so they don't blow their chops. Doesn't have much. Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah. And I'm a clarinet player, so I know with the chops, especially with Jeff, because it's a reed-based instrument. Yeah. Yeah. And I know exactly what's that like. I was in honors band my senior year. My uncle went to Boston Conservatory, so I know about that. I mean, I know he's played some sessions. He's done some performances at some pretty nice facilities with some pretty ballin' symphonies in his past, years, in his 20s and part of his 30s, right? Sax, he knows all the woodwinds. He's amazing. But the thing is, it's going to take time. And then people are like, oh, there's all these world-class violin players. Bruh, you think someone comes into DMB, Buddy and Tim and Rashawn and Jeff, they don't make the money that Dave, Carter, and Stefan make. Let's keep it 100. So everyone's like, oh, Dave, Matt, they make $1 million a show. Yeah, they make $1 million a show to pay everyone who's on stage right now. Where are they going to find the money to pay a fiddle player to really, the fiddle player would have to play part-time for the first year. You're not just working in. What's up, Mike? We're talking about my opinion on Boyd. I mean, not Boyd. No. My opinion on bringing a fiddle in, which is my opinion, is don't ruin the chemistry. And as a Flames fan, as a hockey fan, one player, right? We've seen in hockey. We've seen Jonathan Tavares go to the Leafs. They didn't make a difference. Wayne Simmons, yeah, we're going to bring him from Philly. And look, bro, Wayne was my guy in Philly. They still didn't get passed around. They got Austin Matthews now. They got crazy lineups, right? still out, still can't make it past the first round last year. So, and look at the New York Islanders. The New York Islanders lost Jonathan Tavares, and their chemistry was better. Right? They made it further to the Stanley Cup without Jonathan Tavares. Right? And Jonathan Tavares is like, when he left New York Islanders, it was just like Boyd Tin, like similar, right? New York, I know Islanders fans out here in Connecticut. And one of the guys I know, he's from Long Island, and he knows some of the old players. He used to work at, I think, he used to teach some of the hockey players, kids. He used to teach them crew, which is, on the rowing, right? So he knows some of the players, right? And Mike says, yep, players don't make teams 100%. That's how it is with music. You could have a world-class fiddle player. They may not fit the mold. And Connor says the Maple Leafs with Tavares lost one of the years to the Islanders. Okay, they did. Okay, right. So yeah, they lost to the Islanders. So I remember that series. Yeah, because they were the Islanders fans were on him. Yeah, I remember that because they were mad. And I'm telling Islanders, you guys will be fine. Like it's too much money. But anyway, that's the thing. Chemistry is important. And the writer Northwest says, in all honesty, the fiddle was pretty much auxiliary, maybe save for a few songs, but good for arrangements. I don't miss the violin. I don't. And I do. I think fans have moved on, but even so, some fans are still, it's always going to be there. It's just always going to, there's always going to be someone that says we need it's just like someone saying Freebird in a crowd at a festival. Freebird, right? It's going to happen. Someone's going to talk or yell a song out. Right. And Mike says band sounds way tighter and looks happier without Boyd. Absolutely. And that's the thing. And I know there's some fans that just, it's tough to adjust to that change. For me, I think what helps me adjust is I think of all the times that the fiddle was out of tune. Bruh, the fiddle was out of tune. Look, I've said this, Boyd, we wish you the best. You gave your heart to this band. But bro, your instrument was out of tune. It was, right? We listen back to shows. They made Boyd re-record Chicago 98, the live from Chicago 98. They made him re-record that as an overdub, which is just, you're in the studio and you're recording a lot of your music videos, a lot of your live music. They do overdub vocals and parts in a studio, and they just mix it into the live show. I know some friends who have done that for various, musical performances that they've done. Yeah, and I love Buddy's fiddle. Mike says that. I love Buddy's fiddle. Yes, and Michael says Boyd barely played and clearly wasn't on the same vibe. I agree with that as well. There was the chemistry. He was in a bubble, right? And you look at, there was some, if you guys are football fans, the New York Giants and the New York Jets, if you look at some of the game film, I just saw the stuff because I don't have time to look at the full replays of games, but I was looking at some of like the plays, and you had some plays where two offensive linemen for the Giants, and there was one last week versus my Patriots, and look, we got lucky that the Jets are trash. The Jets and the Giants, you can watch game film, and the offensive lines of both of those teams were not on the same page. They were like either blocking each other. I think there were examples week 1 of the Giants, week 2 of the Jets, where they were almost like players were blocking each other. That's exactly how it was when Boyd was there. You had a great, just like, look, the Jets quarterback is talented. Zach Wilson, right? Is that his name? Zach Wilson? He is talented. And I was, my team played against him, but he has nobody around him, where our Patriots quarterback, Mac Jones, I really don't think he's that good. He just fits the system, right? I wanted Justin Fields, although he wouldn't fit this. But like the point is, when you have the chemistry, when you're built for a system like Mac Jones is built for the Patriots system, you're going to look good. You're going to look better because everything's the same. Boyd was on an island on some of those shows. Everything else was in tune. You have some of the most, Carter and Leroy, like two legendary players in any music. Yeah, and Connor says he would get too, Boyd was talented, but he'd get too stoned or mess up a lot. Yeah. And he always wore sunglasses. So you don't know. And I just hope that if there was any drug abuse, if it wasn't just, because I know weed is not in the it's not a hard drug to me. right? There's some people that react to weed bad. I've seen people. There's some people I know. I'm like, bruh, you don't need to smoke. It puts you in a bad spot. It's very rare, right? But allegedly, right? Allegedly, I'm not. Listen, I don't partake in that before or after the laws changed. I just never been a person to do that. But I understand why people do it. Anyway, the point is, there's like Boyd has those sunglasses on. You have no idea what he was doing before stage. I really hope that he's doing better, but we have no idea what he was doing. But because the sunglasses are on, he could have been stoned, drunk, had other hard drugs. And I'm sure in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, they had no issue getting whatever they needed. Just like the Grateful Dead and some other bands that in their heydays had no problem getting the psychedelics, allegedly, just in case we don't want to incriminate no one, allegedly. So it's just, yeah. And sober Boyd, he probably just couldn't get to the place he was. Like some rappers like Lil Wayne under the influence of codeine, promethazine, syrup, was on a whole new level. When he was sober, he couldn't get back to that level. It was tough for him, right? And that's a strong addiction, and that could be what Boyd. I really don't know with Boyd. I can't speak on that, but we know Lil Wayne. If you're a hip hop fan, Lil Wayne, when he was sipping that syrup, when he was lighting up, and that little cigarette spark used to come on, Wayne used to kill those verses. And he's gotten back. Actually, he's getting back to he had some nice features, but certain artists, they need these things, right? You wouldn't have Pink Floyd or the Grateful Dead without psychedelics, allegedly. Right. So, and they tried, Michael's right. They tried to hold on him for too long. I love him, love listening, watching his videos of him playing, but it's just the truth. They held on him. They tried to, even with the alligator, even before that, they tried. And you can check out videos. I have some videos on my YouTube. Just look up Conservist 34, Boyd Tinsley. I gave my initial reactions when I found out about certain updates in those cases and in the band's changes. But yeah, I mean, I wish Boyd the best. If you're watching, Boyd, you gave your heart to this band. There's things that we'll never know. Given that there was a settlement in the case, and there's hopefully there were lessons and opportunities. But we wish you the best, but I think it was time. It was time. We hope, I know, and just like you guys got to realize, football players, a lot of what the adrenaline rush of a football player, a hockey player, a basketball player, but especially football players, because they only have one game a weekend, right? And a lot of these players get hurt. Some of these players are hurt for a quarter of their career, half their career. And any game they can come in, like the first game of the year, like the adrenaline is so high, college and pro. The same thing with DMB. Boyd went from stadiums and amphitheaters and arenas, and then it was just arenas and amphitheaters, and he lost Leroy. And I think that's another key thing we got to remember. Leroy passing away impacted everyone, but it seems like Boyd, after Leroy passed, it hit him, and that's life. Some of you guys have lost key people in your life, and it may never go away, never be the same. And I always encourage counseling. I always encourage therapy. If you need help, get help. Right? I strongly believe in that. But that was a big thing. And Buddy Strong has been a blessing to this band. People say, "Oh, I want the violin and get rid of," but you can't get rid of Buddy. He is this band would have been down a bad road if they did not have Buddy Strong. Period. This band would have been down a bad road if there was no Buddy Strong. The smiles on stage. Talk about pandemic and transmission of diseases. Buddy's smile, Buddy's energy. Tim Reynolds, since Buddy has been on stage, I have seen, now Tim Reynolds always has a good time, but he's a cool dude. He has the sunglasses on, whatever. Since Buddy has been a part of this band, Tim Reynolds has just really, to a whole new level, been happy. Rashawn's been happy. Rashawn, I guess, recruited him to the band. And Rashawn is like the general manager of this band, right? He's your GM. You know how if you're a sports fan, you're like, bro, we got to get rid of this GM. Forget the coach. The GM has screwed up. He's made these bad draft choices, et cetera, et cetera. Rashawn is the GM of this band, and he recruited Buddy, and he added him. Dave, obviously the band has to approve him, but he's the one who said, look, he went to Dave's front office, right? Dave's the owner really of this band. And he's like, "Hey, Dave, I got this guy. He's played with Usher. He's played with Ariana Grande. He's from the church. He can bring some soul. You know how people hate the Lovely Ladies? Well, Buddy can do everything the Lovely Ladies can do, but he's not extra. Oh, he plays the bass too. He plays the drums just in case for some reason, like years down the road, Carter catches COVID. He can play the drums and he also can play the bass too, right? Just FYI, and the wink. I just went in the future and I found we're gonna need Buddy, right? I had the McLaren. I went back to the future, but that's the thing. Buddy was amazing. And people, I hate the organ. I get it. I don't really hear him like Butch. You know why you don't hear him like Butch? Because this band is louder. But the band has now balanced itself out. They've put Buddy up in the keys much, much more. You never know with Buddy and Dave. Oh my gosh, I almost cried. Right? Tears of joy. Some of the combinations of these songs with Buddy Strong's keys and Dave's guitars that are being elevated this year in the mix are amazing. It's the best thing since sliced bread. Like they are like, it is amazing, some of the stuff. And even if you still miss a fiddle, this band does not move on without Buddy, and it's going to be extremely hard to find a talented violin player. And the last thing I'll end on is this. Bruh, people are like, hey, there's this cover band that has a fiddle player. Maybe they should call them up to the majors. No. And listen, these cover bands, some of these people that I see, and even just shout out to like Dave Bigler, right? If you're watching this, Dave just does Dave's parts. He does Dave's solo stuff. And sometimes he'll team up with a couple other guys from Monkeys on a String or just other people he sees, his brother as well. But like, they can nail down these parts like amazingly for Dave. They can sing like Dave, but a cover band in a full DMB, the real DMB, are two separate things. The only people in cover bands that I really can say, hey, they could step in are the people like Mike Del Judas. Shout out to Billy Joel. I got the poster up there. I'm debating, am I going to wear my Billy Joel shirt to Fenway or a Yankee shirt for Yankees Red Sox this Sunday? I'm debating that. I've done both, right? Got to come in with that Madison Square Garden Billy Joel shirt. Let's go Yanks, baby, or the Yanks shirt. But anyway, Mike Del Judas, right? Some of the other Dead members that have collaborated with Dead, people who have collaborated with Phil Lesh, collaborated with Bob Weir, they're going to be able to take the Dead on a whole new level because they've played hours with these legends. So Mike Del Judas has Big Shot, a tribute to Billy Joel. Dude has logged in thousands of hours, hundreds of thousands of hours with Billy Joel on stage. And what Mike does is Mike plays some acoustic guitar, and he plays acoustic guitar and some other stuff for Billy Joel in his regular sets, right? In his regular shows, Mike Del Judas is part of that touring band. And then he does Big Shot covers when they're not touring to make some extra money. Shout out to you guys. Got to realize a lot of musicians who aren't the headliner that work in these bands, they don't make close to the money that like I said, Buddy and Rashawn, like they don't make close to what, and that's just because they weren't the original writers of the music. They weren't the original people that were part of the band. They're filling in a void and they are compensated. And support Buddy Strong. His Be Strong t-shirts are awesome. Check out his social media, Buddy Strong Band, at Buddy Strong Band on Twitter. But I'm saying the only people that I would take from a cover band are people that have had to actually been on stage for hundreds of hours. These fiddle players, I'm not saying they're talented in these cover bands, but you cannot take somebody from a cover band to the real thing for 30, 20 plus shows. You can't. You got this show this night, it's 90 degrees in Florida, and then all of a sudden you're in Saratoga Springs and it's 50 degrees on stage, right? Temperature adjustments, rigorous road schedule, having to play with the real band, right? Not just kind of do a little bit of Boyd. Like you got to be that fiddle player, right? And I don't think there's a world-class. Listen, the other thing too is this, and I know I'm rambling on. Keep in mind, if I'm a fiddle player, right, and I'm like, listen, I'm not a DMB fan. I know who Boyd is, and I know what Ants Marching is, but if I'm not a DMB fan, I'm in the country music scene in Nashville, and I can either play for insert country music band here. If I can play for Luke Bryan, even if I can play for like an up and coming country artist, if I can play the same songs every single night on fiddle, or if I have to learn hundreds of songs, 200 songs from DMB over the next 4 years, and then after that, DMB's gonna, their touring is limited. Like they're not gonna be able to tour for 20 more years. It's just that's the reality. Because Carter will be 80. Right, the Stones are kind of breaking some stuff, and rest in peace to Charlie Watts. But the Stones, the members that are still living, they're pushing it. DMB is not going to tour for 20 more years. You could start at if you're 30 years old and you're a fiddle player right now, you could start with some band that's on the rise, play fiddle, the same songs every night, and get paid more than DMB will pay you. Then you take that, you're doing good. You hit 40. You either stay, if that band blows up to a certain level, you stay with them, or you could hop to another band because you've played with an up and coming band from doing small clubs to then they're doing the Houston rodeo, right? With 70, 80,000 people. And then they start doing, opening up stadiums like they opened up for Blake Shelton, right? Or they opened up for Chris Stapleton, right? And Mike says, I think we got 5 more years of DMB and then we'll get Dave and Tim, some Dave solo. Yeah. I mean, we'll see. I mean, it really depends. And I think it's either going to be 5. We got 5 more solid years of that. I think Dave is still going to try to play. I mean, look at Willie. That's the thing is the guitarist is usually fine. I'm going to see Willie Nelson. I've seen him twice before in his, I think, how old is Willie Nelson? I saw him at the last Farm Aid. I think he's 80. Oh, he's 88. So I've seen him twice in his 80s. He's 88 years old. So he can play his stuff, but there's something about guitar players now, acoustic guitar players, right? Eric Clapton's losing his steam. BB King was, his tone was there, but I think some of his licks, I just think he couldn't replicate how he was in his 30s and 40s when I saw him in BB was in his late 80s, I believe. It was in 2010, right? But an acoustic guitarist can play that stuff forever. So I think we're going to get Dave and Tim, Dave solo, maybe Dave and friends. Right. I think Mike says Ricardo will retire. Right. So we may get some mixes here and there. We may have some full band shows, maybe like 10 full band shows. And then Dave does Dave and friends, Dave and Tim. I think that's the reality of what we're going to get. And also, Tim is getting up there in age and we'll see what he decides to do as well. Let me just look up Tim Reynolds. Tim is 63, right? So he's up there with Carter. So maybe, you have Dave and Joe Lawler or Dave and someone else, or Dave solo, or just Dave and friends, right? You're going to get that, that stuff just like Bob Weir did Rat Dog. And, as a rhythm guitarist, obviously Dave is bigger than Bob. Jerry was the Grateful Dead, right? Shout out to Bob. Bob is still, a major part of that, but Jerry is the Dave, and Jerry is going to always be, for most people, bigger than Dave just because of many reasons. Anyway, he was Dave's hero, right? Jerry was someone Dave looked up to, right? They opened up for the Grateful Dead. The reason we have multi-track DMB soundboard audio is because they opened up for the Dead and they started really getting these multi-tracks things down packed, learning from the Grateful Dead, which are really the godfathers of this live music taper scene. They're the godfathers of it. Their fans and their tapers, and then the soundboard, like the archives, they mastered that. They're the godfathers or the grandfathers of that. All right, that's all I got for today. But again, that's my stance on the fiddle or no fiddle. Thank you guys for coming on. Next up, as we go to look at this, I'm gonna be in Hartford, my home state. Dave and Tim, Farm Aid 2021. But I'm going to be staying through, right? I'm not leaving after Dave and Tim. I may leave after, like, towards the end of Willie's set. I love seeing Willie and his son do at least a song. I may stay for the whole thing. I don't know. Because, Willie's getting up there in age. I want to see his moment at the end. We got Willie, John Mellencamp. Happy to see Mellencamp. Dave and Tim, Sturgill Simpson are the 2 main ones that I'm looking forward to. But Mellencamp, John Cougar is awesome. He's the man. And so same thing with Willie Nelson. Now Margot, the other thing is too, now these are because I know Sturgill's, music, and I know Dave and Tim. Margot Price, I've heard great things about. I think I missed her last time. And Nathaniel Ratliff and the Night Sweats, I definitely want to try to check them out as well. So when, I am looking forward to this, and I will be on. Stay tuned to my Twitter at ConcertViz34, and you'll see once. I'll let you know. Okay, I'm heading back. We'll shoot to be on at 11 o'clock or 10:50 or 11:45, like whatever it is. Stay tuned for that. Mike, yes, Uncle Neil's not playing. Neil Young, I actually was more. When I saw him a couple years ago at Farm Aid, I was actually more happier to see Neil Young. I was looking more forward to Neil Young than Dave and Tim. I've seen Dave and Tim, right? I've seen them at that time. I'd seen them before, but also Margot opened up Gorge Night 3. Okay, yeah, I've seen, and I think I've seen her collab with some people at Lock-In, who I love and admire. Don't quote me on that, but I think she's sat in on some sets. A lot of music that I've listened through in the last couple of years. But yeah, Neil Young, we send you the best. I'm sure you're not watching this, but dude, Neil Young is the man. And I know, Mike, as a Canadian, that's one of your artists that is just there's something about, listen, you have your Justin Biebers and you have your Nickelbacks. Although I think Justin Bieber is actually becoming a good adult. I will say that. But you have Nickelback, you have your Avril Lavigne's. We don't need those people. But yo, Celine Dion, Rush, and Neil Young are just three that come to mind, that just world-class acts. Man, you Canadians, I know there's some jerks out there. A lot of them are in Toronto. They're Maple Leaf fans. But man, I love them. They are just great people. From what I know, from the way they carry themselves in the public eye. Celine Dion, Neil Young, and the members of Rush, rest in peace to Neil Peart. But Alex Lifeson and Geddy Lee, I would love. Geddy Lee collects Negro League baseball cards and memorabilia. I would love to talk to him about that, especially just being a baseball fan. I would love to hang out with these Canadian artists: Celine Dion, Geddy Lee, Alex Lifeson, Neil Young. And like I said, Justin Bieber is actually becoming a pretty cool adult. He's doing some great things. He's maturing. From what we see. So even he's Nickelback, nah. Chad Kroeger, kick rocks. You're trash. I can't stand Nickelback. They seem like a bad cover. They sound like a parody band. And I know some people like Nickelback. That's your thing, cool. I can't get on it. And it's not just because everyone hates Nickelback. I never could stand them. So but yo, Canada and City and Color. Out there, and I love City and Color as well, which is awesome act. It's I can't remember the frontman's main name, and he has a band behind him, and sometimes he does solo stuff. But that's all I got for today. Hit the like button, folks. If you guys hit the like button, it helps me to get more exposure. I'm getting more exposure. I'm seeing much more views. Thank you for you guys who are tuning in. The support. This is a channel. I'm not monetized right now. And I don't foresee that happening in any time this year. I'm doing this because I love all of the comments here. I love this. It looks like around at least 8 people are live right now. I just love talking to you guys. I love giving you guys a unique perspective, getting someone to call in, and just getting your guys' opinions and having these conversations, having opposing opinions, right? Talking with someone, hey, what about these encores? Any opinion is welcome here. I'll give my perspective. You can give yours, and we can leave with respect. I believe one of the missing things from this world is just a nice conversation or debate, right? People don't know how to debate. It's just, I hate you. No, I hate you. We can't talk anymore. No, let's talk about it. Let's see where everyone's coming from. And then when we see perspective, right? When we can truly listen to other people's opinions and see how they're living, we become better humans. And it's a lost art in this world. We have wealth. We have more abilities to travel than any other time in the world. Women are, and listen, there's still a long work to go across the world. But women in the United States and Canada and Europe, they have like some of the most freedoms, and that's awesome. They need more. We need to keep fighting for these women. But they have more freedoms than ever. Me as an African American, as a black man, I have more freedoms now than ever. Bro, my dad grew up during segregation. Like he was young, right? He was in kindergarten, and then, my uncle was a little older, but my dad was in Virginia during segregation. Bro, our lives are, I can't believe I'm saying bro, but our lives, we have so much opportunity. There's so much atrocities. We still need to fight for people, especially across other parts of the world, right? And we need to be kind to others. But part of that is just the idea of having conversations, right? We fight over trivial things, and people can't walk away from conversations saying, look, this is my opinion. This is your opinion. I learned a little bit from you. You learned a little bit from me. Have a good day, sir. Look, we can talk about this next time. Let's talk about this next week, right? Let's have a positive debate. Let's compromise. The C word, compromise, right? I'm just trying to do that, man. I'm trying to give perspective. I'm trying to give people a place where you can share how you feel. You can call into a show if you like the Shake Me Closers. If you stayed for the Shake Me Closers, that's fine. Just know when I'm making fun of Shaking Like a Monkey, it's all in fun. I'm just trying to have a good time. You can make fun of me and my set list critiquing as well. I won't take it personal. But it's your boy Conservist 34. I will see you guys on Saturday. Time to be determined. But once I get back from Farm Aid, set everything up, your boy will be on again. Have a wonderful night. Be well, be safe. Peace, love, and DMB.